Hello everybody and welcome back for day 3 of tearing down the diesel engine out of Caterpillar D2 number 5J2115SP. I've pretty well covered the backstory of old 2115 in the last two episodes, and some people are a bit confused now as to what I'm doing. You know, the reason I got so far into the story of 2115 is just to kind of provide some filler in the background to kind of get some videos stretched out a little bit. I've gotten some pretty positive feedback on it, but there are some viewers, I don't know if they're new to the channel or have missed a couple episodes, that are kind of confused as to what I'm doing here. I even had one of my buddies text me asking, do you have like 3 restoration projects going on now or 4? It's like, no, I just have 2 restoration projects going on. So just to catch everybody back up, this is just to try and get a good engine block, replacement engine block, for the Caterpillar D2 number 5J1113 that I hauled home several months ago. That engine block had been frozen, cracked, and broken beyond repair, so I've made one attempt that failed at getting a replacement engine block for 1113. That was that 3J engine that I tore down and ended up having the beer can shims behind the main bearings. The top deck was pitted and just wrecked. The bearing bores were all warped out of shape from those beer can shims being put in there. So that was my first failed attempt at a replacement engine block for 1113. 2115 here had already been turned into a parts donor, so I pulled the engine out of it because it has the same block that 1113 would have used. So this is only being torn down just to try and get a good block. It's being parted out. So just to make sure everybody knows exactly what's going on here, that's what's going on. We're just trying to find a block because 1113's internals are all in very, very good shape. They just need a home to go back into. So with that out of the way, I'll catch you up on what's been going on here. The only thing I've done since pulling the cylinder head off in the last video was to take all those head studs out so it looks a little bit less like a porcupine now. But I found something else on old 2115 here in the piston department that just further shows how much wear this poor old girl has got. Stabilize the camera here for you. Hopefully you can see it. We got piston number 4 at top dead center, and I noticed this rather conspicuous crack that runs around the kind of the outer portion of the piston here. If I apply pressure to it in just the right way, you can see that outer portion rotates around that crack, and that's because this piston is coming apart. Long story short, this is an early style 2-piece piston. It was aluminum bodied piston with a steel or cast iron, I don't remember which now, portion that threaded on around the top that held the top compression ring for sure, possibly more, I don't remember now. We'll get a better look at that once we get it out. But these were rather notorious for coming apart because these ferrous portions were basically threaded onto the aluminum piston body and then pinned in place, and they had a reputation for coming apart and causing all kinds of damage. So one more area where poor 2115 was just right on her last legs, and I was literally flirting with disaster, being that that thing is already moving on the piston. It was real close to coming apart. Now enough show and tell, back to business. What I'm going to do is reinstall the starter pinion drive, even though I took it out a couple weeks ago when I made those videos of how to remove a starter pinion drive. This normally would not have been out yet. I still would have had it in the bell housing, and I'm putting it back in now because I'm going to use it to help me to keep the engine from rotating while I loosen some difficult fasteners. So now the way I'm going to use the pinion drive to hold the engine from turning is to first engage the pinion gear with the ring gear, and then I can apply the brake, which will hold this engine from turning while I loosen the flywheel bolts and this big engine 13/16 nut on the front pulley. So you can see here how easily this engine rolls. Of course, it's pretty loose, so there's not a lot of rolling resistance left anyway, but if I just firmly apply the brake, holds it from turning, it loosens right up. Just finished getting that the rest of the way off. Pulley 2. Okay, back of the engine now. We got these 6 flywheel bolts have to come out. Sometimes you get lucky and you can hold the flywheel from turning just with the drive pinion. Other times these are so tight the drive pinion brake cannot do it. You actually have to find a way to wedge a bar on the ring gear and sometimes even use a cheater pipe on your wrench, but we'll just see what happens here. Another bit of advice, just real quick, is not to position the wrench out here like this and try doing all your pulling, you're actually going to gain a little bit of leverage if you go across the center line of the flywheel, go to the other side, because where the center line of the flywheel intersects with your bar, you actually cancel out that much distance leverage wise, because it pivots around this point right here. So that will actually give you a little more mechanical advantage on that bolt. So I'll apply the brake. And let's see if I can, yep. Yeah, there we go. I can break these loose. Hopefully the other 5 are like that. We'll see. Yep. Good deal. Alright, let me get this flywheel out of here. I want to show you something. Alright, first, expect these bolts to be kind of a tighter fit in the holes. If I can get these worked out here, I'll show you why. There we go. These bolts are shouldered extra large in diameter right here above the threads, and they're a pretty close fit to the holes in the flywheel. And these 6 bolts actually act as the alignment dowels. There are no dowel pins in the back face of the flywheel there. It's just these bolts that locate that flywheel. So expect them to be kind of difficult to turn all the way out. Another thing I want to show you is this old battle scar right here where all this metal has been displaced. Something came apart in this clutch housing at one time and really come up and wedged hard right there. At this point I have no idea what it is, but something got hit pretty hard. Third thing I want to show you is all the wear on these clutch fingers here. The clutch disc engages with all of these all the way around, and it's just a fiber disc, but when you place a straight edge up next to one, you can see how far in they're worn. That's supposed to be a flat face right there, and there is quite a lot of gap between the face of that tooth and the straight edge. All of these are worn like that all around here. I don't know how many hours it takes a fiber disc of running on, you know, machined steel to induce wear like that, but I'm betting it's a lot. And now that we're done with this pinion drive for good, I'll remove it once again. I want to take some of these crankcase side covers off now, but man, I'm going to have to scrape these things out. Tons of grease on here. And some dirt in there too. Not a glamorous job, folks, but has to be done. Alright, that's a little better. I can at least kind of see what I'm doing now. These are a couple pieces I've actually never had off of this D2, so they're kind of stuck. There we go. Yeehaw. And of course this one's not any different. And I'll finish up by getting the lower crankcase pans off. Oh man, there's always sludge. Always sludge. Hey, look at this. I don't know if you can see it or not. That thing's been broken out once before. That's all like brazing weld. Let's check out here. Yep. Well, it's not brazing. I think it's regular weld. I don't know how they cracked that, but they did. Alright, just going to have a little bit of a look around in here just to satisfy my curiosity. Anyhow, it's not looking horribly dirty other than what settled out in the bottom. I'll just let that drip into that pan overnight. I see cotter pins in place on all the critical fasteners. Oh, no, here's something. Not a cotter pin, but this fold over lock under this bolt for the front suction bell is not folded at all. Doesn't look like it is. Must still be tight. It's still there. Just having a look at some things. Let's just try something here. Oh boy. Hear that? Now that's not the side to side. That is straight up play on number 4. Let's check number 1. Yep, same thing there. I'm not a micrometer, but that tells me that's just a bit more than maximum allowable spec. I don't know what 2 and 3 are like. Can't get in there anyway. Oh well, check those out later. Kind of getting scared that I even ran this thing now. Well, everybody, I'm sorry to say it, but I'm going to have to wrap the video up right here. This is all the time I have to work on this tonight. But all I can say about the wear inside this thing is wow. Just wow. I can't believe this thing was that loose. It really never knocked. It didn't hold great oil pressure after it warmed up, but it had enough to keep everything turning anyway. But got it lightened up, and I'm ready to flip this thing over and start taking the pan off and the bell housing, radiator support, all that stuff. But like I said, that's not going to happen tonight. So we'll just wrap the video right here. Guys, as always, thanks for watching. I'm sorry this is kind of a shorter one. We didn't get a whole lot done, but it's about all I had time to do, probably for this whole week. So thanks for watching. I'll get back to it as soon as I can. Like, subscribe, comment below. Hope to see you back again. Oh, come on out of there. Geez, turn the camera on and then you quit moving. Need a wrench again. What's going on, man? Help me help you. That's what I say. Help me help you. Oh, now I got my glove in it.